Okay, hello everybody. I have another guest today, Sue Moses. I'm very excited because again, this is somebody who is at the other end of the world. It's what was it, 7 o'clock in the evening at your place at the moment?
7 p.m. in Sydney, yes,
Yeah,
Sydney's.
so that's evening, and over here it's very early morning. It's 9 o'clock, so it
The
always
wonderful
amazes me,
technology.
this time difference. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'll just kick in with the first question, Sue. What are your thoughts about aging healthily?
Well, as I'm aging, it's definitely a topic that's of increasing in interest for me. Um, my family have always been very, very healthy. Like my great grandfather was over 100 when he died.
Wow.
I think pretty much everybody's lived at least into their 80s. Um, and I think it's important. You want to have a quality of life. If you're going to live a long life, that there's no point, there's no joy in it if you're not healthy. And Hanny, it really does come down to um, there's the mind and the brain and the heart and your health and your attitude as well. So, and it needs to be worked on. And I have this beautiful aunt that I love and adore, and she says it's growing old is very unpleasant.
Oh,
And it's hard, and I think that is the reason that you have to be very conscious with your aging, don't you? It's like you have to work on your health and your fitness, and that health is not just in the physical body, but it's in the emotional body and the mental body as well. um, I certainly admire my mother because she has she does cryptic crosswords and plays Scrabble, and she's a keeps her brain. She does that every single day. Reads books. She's a voracious reader. Yeah, I don't think she could survive without reading. She has a very active social life. She's into all sorts of different groups. She's part of a writers' circle and a book club. She walks at least, somewhere between 2 and 4 kilometres pretty much every day. So, and she's into her 80s now, and she has a quality of life. So,
great.
yeah, and I think that's the difference. Is if you approach your aging with that kind of um, an attitude where it's your responsibility to keep yourself, um, healthy,
Yeah.
and then life's good. I certainly don't want to be one of these people who have, aches and pains and boxes full of tablets that they have to take, and yeah, so yep.
It might be possible that both of us end up that way anyway, but I just hope that I won't be a complainer because that's often
Yeah.
people keep
Well,
on.
that's where it comes down to the attitude,
Yeah,
your attitude to aging. And I think, like I look at my mother and I look at my uncle, which is my mother's brother, and are you familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza at all, Hanny? Have you heard of any of his work?
no, I think I see something in my timeline at times, maybe by you or by Laura. I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
no, I
and
don't know.
Rebecca's very much into him as well.
Okay.
He is a brilliant thought leader on the power of the mind and how the brain and the body um, sort of work in these feedback loops.
Hmm.
And one of the things that he said that I think is makes a lot of sense is he said you have to be careful because a feeling can become a mood, and then it becomes a state of being. And 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 it's sort of like what happens is like whatever you think you're experiencing, creates a feeling in the body, which is generated by chemicals from the brain. And that's where the comfort zone comes from, is we get used to this cycle between the feeling and the thought, and the feeling and the thought, and it's perpetuated by brain chemicals. And if we're not careful, if we don't consciously work at coming out of our mood states, then they become a habit, and they become who we are. They become our personality. And I look at my mother's brother, who is younger than she is by a good, I think it's 8 years. And something terrible happened to him, nearly 40 years ago, and it broke his heart. And he has become this sad old man. And it's like, it just, he never let go.
It's pity. And how lucky you are that your mother is different, because that
but I think, and it's like what you were saying too, Hanny, is like, even if we, hopefully all the measures that we take to age healthily will sustain us. But if that's not to be, then hopefully we can have an attitude of that's such that we can still appreciate the things in life that we're able to enjoy. Yeah.
You'll be better company then, won't you?
Yeah, for ourselves and for others. Yes.
And for others. Well, if you're a good company for others, people like to be with you, and then you have a better social life, which is good for your health. So
absolutely. Yeah.
So I only mentioned your name, but could you please tell us what you're doing now and what you did in the past?
Absolutely. Well, our past it's quite long. So yeah, my first real sort of foray into a profession, into a career, was in the media, and that was a long time ago. And I was got a job in a radio station when I was about 19 years old, and that sort of set me on a path into FM radio here in Australia, and also television as a presenter. And I had a wonderful sort of 15 years of doing that, and that has, a few other things along the way as well, but that has kind of come full circle for me. And I'm now working as a video coach for people that want to develop an online business, and there's quite a lot of it, and it really is a fabulous way to stay engaged with the world and have conversations with people like you across the other side of the world. So the thing that I like to do is to help people who want to develop an online business and realize that video is a fabulous way of marketing their business, sharing their ideas, and delivering information. But not everybody feels good about themselves on video, and that's something that I work with them, so I can share my insights and hints and tips and tricks, all of those sorts of things that I learned from my time as a professional in front of a microphone and in front of a camera. So that's what I'm doing now. But I have a big phobia at the moment around the sort of like the computer programs and the technology that's required to integrate all these different forms of software to automate businesses online, and that's something that I'm determined to conquer. This month, this month of November, I've sort of said it. I've called it my get out of my comfort zone challenge, and a lot of it has had to do is being motivated by my desire to stop being phobic around technology in my business, but it's also been around getting setting some standards for myself going forward as far as my physical health is concerned, as I head towards what is it, my 60th decade now. So yes.
Well, maybe we can give each other mutual help. So you help me with sorry, with the video, and I'll help you with the technology because
Oh, sounds lovely.
I love techniques. So,
Oh, okay.
but I do want to come back later on your video experience. But first of all, out of personal interest, I'm very interested in your 30-day challenge, because you're doing all kinds of stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I learned some time ago, like just before I turned 50, I had another one of these sorts of things where I just sort of, I think that as you get older, the decades serve as good benchmarks for you. You sort of, you look back and you look forward at the same time. And just before I turned 50, I was midway through a master's course in interpersonal communication, and that required sitting on my butt a lot, reading academic papers and eating chocolate biscuits and drinking cups of tea. And I thought, you know what, I don't really want to turn 50 like this. So I set about, a physical challenge, because I felt the need to move, because I had been doing so much sitting around reading, and the study and the academic assignment writing didn't come very very comfortably to me. So I quite often find myself sitting down just going, oh, let me out of here. And I found that by being physical, it let out a lot of that sort of more negative, resentful, nervous energy. And in the process of doing that, I found that calmed my mind, and somehow or another it gave me this a heightened power to focus on the things that I didn't really want to focus on. So when I got to this point, probably earlier this year, I guess it was, that I thought, look, I've just got to do this, seeing these other people push through and sort of bring all of these different sort of software as services that you need to, automate emails and host, documents and things like that. And I saw them doing what I wanted, which was to have a business that would generate an income, and with me delivering services that I could do location independent, that I could do from anywhere. And I saw them doing it. I thought, I've got to do it too. So that sort of took me back in time to when I was doing my master's, and how I'd found that doing that physical challenge helped me to focus and push through doing, those other things that I wasn't enjoying. So I thought I'd do the same thing. I wasn't feeling I was, getting aches and pains, and I hadn't been doing a lot of work physically, fitness work. I thought, you know what, Sue? It's time to get serious about this. So I thought, okay, the studio that I like to go to was having a 30-day challenge, and the Bikram yoga is that 90 minutes in a room that's heated really quite high, so you have a wonderful sweat, so it's a great detox. So I thought, I'm going to do that, which is what I did just before I turned 50. And then I found out about the Wim Hof ice bath challenge. I thought, I'm going to do that too, because I just hate cold. I hate the cold. So I thought I'd do that. And then, that was all to sort of empower me to do the technology stuff, which I haven't even touched yet. And November's nearly over. So I've got a bit of work ahead of me. But honey, the thing that I found out along the way is that, when you open yourself to the possibilities of change, and wanting more for yourself, that sometimes things that you don't really want to face, or that you weren't anticipating, just come up. It's like, yeah. And this month I have had some very harsh experiences with my 17-year-old son, who is, sort of breaking out of his role as my boy, and wanting to become a man. and he hasn't gone about it really very well, and he's made some poor choices, and there's been some very stressful moments along the way. So and I guess that's really the thing about a challenge, isn't it, Honey, is that the challenge isn't so much just deciding to do something and turning up to do it when it's easy. The thing is keeping turning up when it gets hard and when there are distractions, and that's where the personal growth comes from. And I think, whether you're 17 or 70, the personal growth is really what we're on this planet for,
And it goes with like a procession: 2 steps forward,
Yep.
1 backwards, 2 steps forward, 1 backward.
Yeah.
But how do the English expression, watch out what you wish for because it might happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. But when it does happen, it's funny how, and that's another thing that, people like Dr. That's the second time I said that. Dr. Joe Dispenza says, is that if you're asking for something, you have to be very, very specific, because, it's like, sometimes it's like, well, here, this is what you asked for. It's like, no, that's not quite what I meant, So, and once again, I come back to it, is that's where the personal growth comes from. It's like the stuff that happens and it makes you feel incredibly uncomfortable, and there's no way out. You have to deal with it. And you have to dig deep and find resources that you didn't know that you had. And I've had a lot of that this month, and it's it's interesting. It's humbling, and it's expansive. It's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, the way I can see it from here, because I look at your posts, is that it's adding up to your experiences, and it's shaping you. So yeah.
And I think in some ways too is that it's been all those things that I haven't been expecting that have happened, that are having the most profound impact on me. But I would have to say that this month has been the most challenging month I've had in my life since October 1997. So it's been a very big month, and it's not over yet.
Well, I'm glad you still took the time to talk with me, because I can also imagine that if it's so fierce that you think, well, not everything has to has to be part of it yet. But thank you very much for that.
Yeah, but that's the other thing too, isn't it? Is like life still has to go on. You still need to do the things that you need to do. And I'd say a couple of weeks ago, this would have been very difficult for me to do. But I guess, at some point you sort of, the self-realizations, a bit of peace comes, a bit of acceptance comes. Yeah. So, yeah.
Very good. We would say chapeau. You handle it. I was looking at your live video of the ice bath, and it was a big coincidence that I think only 3 days before that, I was talking to a friend. She's still in Holland, but she did a whole challenge around those methods of Wim Hof and other things as well, like you are doing now.
Yes.
But as far as I understood her, she didn't do the ice bath at that moment.
Right.
But I was thinking about it, of course, and I'm taking cold showers at times, and it's always a bit, let's call it, hard. And I must not think of an ice bath. But
see, it's like the I found, like, I think like my 2 favorite things in my life are hot water and I've got one of those latex mattress toppers, you know, the memory foam on my mattress, and so hot water, just, yeah. So that's why I thought the ice bath challenge would be really good, because it's something that I hadn't done before, and it was just like an awful idea. It's just, oh my God, I can't think of anything worse. So yeah, so that was a good thing to do. But in the meditation and the breathing techniques that they teach you prior to getting into the ice bath, that helps. So if you can, you know, it's a great metaphor. If you can keep your focus, anything's really possible, and that's what it is you keep that focus and the breathing, and you go deep inside yourself. You don't really feel it, you know. It's kind of hard. It's hard to explain. It was fun. It was an amazing thing to do. I really enjoyed it, and it was bizarre to be in that water. And every now and then you get these little moments of wow. I mean, like literally a big bucket of ice, and I'm not like hyperventilating. I'm not, you know, getting out. It was I highly recommend it. It'll make you feel good, and the health benefits are amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
I put it on my list, but I'm not sure if I ever want to.
No, go for
really
it.
Do it.
Go for it. Do it. Yes. It's all about healthy aging. That's what you need to tell yourself.
Yes. And you sort of grow gradually into it, the way you tell it. I can compare it with I walked on fire on a specific occasion, but that was a whole day that was building into the possibility of walking on fire. And I guess this is the same process. So it's not that you come somewhere, you put off your clothes, you drop into the
No, it's definitely, it's about you know, preparing yourself for it. And I think that's the, you know, the other part of the lesson is that if you do prepare, you can tolerate a lot if you're mentally prepared. Yes, for sure.
I promised you to come back to your video experience.
Yeah.
You say you give people tips on, for instance, how to go live, how to engage lives, and I don't know if you can share a couple of those tips with us.
Absolutely. The thing that I find that people struggle with, well, there's a few things, but when they're recording it, like I love live video because you do it, it's done, it's out there, okay? Whereas if you're recording, we tend to be very, very critical of ourselves, and it's like, oh, I didn't say that right, or oh, I didn't say such and such and I wanted to say such and such, or I looked terrible, or my voice sounded weird, or, you know, there's a million reasons not to use the take that you've got, and to keep doing it over and over, and it ends up taking forever. It takes a long time, and people get very frustrated. It's like, yes, I know video is a great thing to do to promote my business, but it takes so long. Now, if you prepare, like most things in life, if you put the work into preparing before you do the thing, you're going to get a much better outcome, okay? So when it comes to making a video or going live, if you do a little bit of preparation beforehand, you're going to get a much better result. Now, the primary thing, the one thing that you can do to really make your videos or your lives more successful to your own standard before you start is to be really clear on your message. Like, what exactly is it that you want to say? Now, something that I encounter quite a lot when I'm working with how do I say it? People who are really skilled at what they do, who've been doing it for a long time, and they know their stuff, and they have this huge database of information that they want to share with people. And so they say, "Oh, don't worry about it, Sue. You know, I'll just talk. You know, I'll just talk. Not a problem." But the thing is, when you do that, it's like starting a trip, knowing that you've got about 8 hours to drive and you want to end up over there somewhere, but you don't bother checking the map, you know. You don't have a clear path to your destination. And when you do a video, if you have a clear path to your destination, then it will be shorter, it will be more entertaining, and you won't get distracted, you know, heading down rabbit holes or side paths, because another thought pops into your head and then you forget the point that you were trying to make. So what I do, and what I recommend other people do, everybody do, is, okay, so you start off and you think, okay, well, I want to talk today about the benefits of doing breath work before I get into an ice bath. So I think, okay, so that's what I want to talk about today. So that's the topic, and there's this big bowl of information that I could be sharing. But what I want to do is pick one thing. And it's like, okay, if there's only one thing that Hanny is going to remember from this conversation, what do I want that thing to be? And then you determine what that is. And sometimes I find that really quite hard. So what I do is I'm walking around the house sort of saying what I want to say about breath work and ice baths. And it gradually reveals itself to me. And and then it might be like the one point that I want to make. And when I can express it in a sentence, when I can say, it's important that when you get into the ice bath, that you do not let your immediate thoughts take over and ruin your breathing. So if I know that that's the one most important thing, the process of identifying that one sentence, I call it peeling the onion of information, it sets like the GPS in your brain. It gets the neural pathways happening so that the neural pathways know the quickest, shortest route between that piece of information and your mouth. And so it serves as like this safety net that you can fall back on when you are doing your videos. If something does happen to distract you, you can get back on track again. So I always think, if you just get really clear on your message. Now I'll be giving you, Hanny, something that you can post on this, underneath this live in the comments, that helps people to sort of get really clear on their message before they go live. So it's a case of figure out know what you want to talk about, know what that point is, be really clear on that. Then you work out your introduction. You work out what story you want to share around that piece of information, and then you work out your outro. And if you've got that, then that's going to make your result a lot better.
Yeah, that are great tips. I'll take them to heart. Well, the funny thing is, I was one of those persons that prepared too much. So the other day I was looking at a video of myself of 4 years ago, and it's just horrible. I learned all the text by heart. I say them like this because I'm afraid to move.
But honey, it's like whatever we do when we first start, whether it's baking a cake or swinging a golf club or doing videos, we're all awful when we first start. I no longer have it, but I did for a long time, and that was the very first video I ever made, which was when I was 19 and trying to get a job with the ABC, which is the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, so our national broadcaster. And I did this long-winded you know, talking about me video about all the things I thought I could do that would make me, you know, a great employee for the ABC. And yeah, you know, it's yeah, we don't know what we don't know until we're told, and then we go, oh yeah, you know, yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, Sue, we're already talking for half an hour. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Time goes so quick every time. It amazes me.
Yeah.
There are some
Yeah.
other things I wanted to talk with you about, but that's for a different time then.
We should do it again, honey. We should do it again for sure.
Sure. And I'll post all your links
Mhm.
afterwards so people can have a look at you and all the interesting things that you do. So yeah, this was great. So thank you so much for
Thank
sharing.
you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. And see you next time.
Have a lovely day. Bye.
Bye.